the naked ladies dance.
Yeah, through the hole in the wall. Look at you.
Bilingual.
Oh, yeah,
It's actually pronounced we.
Actually, it is. There's two different. No, you can say there's two different. It's the kind of a more informal.
Yeah.
This episode is made possible by our therapy partners, Dirty B and Pickets. From fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, this is Pod Therapy. Real people, real problems, and real therapists. You can submit your questions anonymously at podtherapy.net or email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com. And now, broadcasting from the Churn, that's Jim, that's Whitney. I'm Nick. It's time for some Pod Therapy.
A ciao. How do you say hello in Italian? Is it
Ciao.
ciao? Ciao is
Or
also goodbye.
salve
Salve?
is the formal way to say hello.
That's it. Wow.
Salve.
How much
Salve.
Italian did you pick up?
A little
How many
bit.
Italians did you
There
pick
you
up?
go.
That's the better question
Yeah.
here.
And use metric, please.
Let's get to the
Well, there
interesting
was the
stuff.
taxi driver. He's a little older.
It's fine. It's fine.
When in Rome.
I
Literally.
said that a lot.
Like the Romans.
Did you?
I was like, when in Rome?
So smart.
I bet it got funnier every time.
Peter's just staring,
I know. He's like rolling his eyes at me.
crying,
I'm like,
looking out the
"Hey."
window like, oh, Jesus.
No, it was fun since my cousin's husband was there and he spoke some Italian. We mostly just let him do the weeding through,
Yeah.
chatting with people. And he speaks Spanish fluently. So when he'd get stuck, he just kind of flipped to Spanish and that got him through.
Wow.
It's like, okay.
Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
We had fun not being supervised for a while.
Too bad.
Party's over, everybody. So, yeah. Mom's back.
Yeah.
Now we can't fuck around anymore. But if you would like to hear all about Whitney's fun Italian journey and catch a few racial slurs along the way, go down to patreon.com/therapy. You can hear all about it. It was quite the event. And she brought us some delicious wine, which we were all enjoying.
From the Tornado Wine.
The Tornado Winery, Iowa's finest wine, East Texas. Very nice, though. This is. Do you all like a darker wine? Is that your jam?
Yeah. I mean, I would say like a drier
Okay.
wine.
Yeah.
I've kind of gotten into those. It's been a long time though since I drank wine. I kind of
Do you
Yeah.
ever
through a
drink wine with
phase.
like cigars? Is that a thing?
I think
No.
it's more whiskey.
No, I
isn't it?
usually do whiskey with a cigar. I'll even
Okay.
do beer with a cigar, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've never done wine in a
Do
cigar.
you do wine very much? I never see you order wine.
I know. I like wine.
Okay.
But it's not my go-to. It's
If you
sometimes
are
like,
ordering wine, what are you getting? Is it dark? Is
I
it
do
light?
like a cab, like a Cabernet
Okay.
Sauvignon or a Merlot. I like
Okay.
Merlot.
I like Merlots
Yeah.
as well.
I like the Chardonnay. That's if I have to do wine.
We
that's probably
ordered
Chardonnay.
one of our tastings. We did order a bunch of Chardonnay. Like we ordered a case to be
Okay.
shipped because the shipping was free. If
Oh,
we ordered
really?
like
That's pretty cool.
6 bottles or something, I was like, yes. And there was a really
As
good
long
Chardonnay.
as you keister it, I think it's free.
6 bottles is a lot.
Yeah, well,
That's-
I mean, yeah,
that's-
you got divided over 5 people. Just that one guy gets paid a lot.
6 bottles of wine. I'm going to need to warm up.
But I'll have to bring
I
one
need
of
to do my
those in.
stretches.
That's right. A little bit
Because
yoga
there was
pose
a
there.
Chardonnay there that was so good. It was so smooth. It was just, sometimes Chardonnay has a bite to it
Yeah,
to me.
yeah.
So it was so good. I was like, we're getting a bunch of those because, yes.
Yeah, Jacob, what kind of wine is your go-to?
I'm not a big wine person.
Yeah,
I like a nice. I mean, I like a nice red. But sometimes I like a nice white.
I've
Yeah.
had
Depends
Moscato.
on
I
the-
like both kinds.
Oh, Moscato's candy.
It
Yeah,
is.
that's
yeah.
just
Yes.
sugar.
It's just always easy though.
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
you're just like, I just want something to sip on, and I
Yeah.
don't want to wonder if I'm going to like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Moscato. Like,
no,
you-
I'll drink wine usually if I'm out with wine friends. You know,
Okay.
I have
Yeah.
friends that are big wine experts and everything, and they'll order bottles of wine.
Yeah.
and I'll drink whatever they're handing me.
Tastings are fun. I like it whenever it's
Yeah.
it's part of the environment. But if you're just going out,
Yeah, I don't
know.
usually
Yeah,
just order
like
one.
high end wine is just lost on me.
Yeah.
Kind of once I hit a threshold, once I hit like a kind of a niceness
You're too
threshold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, it's just like, oh, this is from a $50 bottle of wine. And I go, well,
Right.
that's really good.
Yeah.
And then somebody else hands me another glass of wine.
bottles.
Yeah, I'm like, that's also really good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's $250 more good.
Yeah.
I don't know how
I
to
don't know.
differentiate
Yeah.
between these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cool.
That's the thing. I just don't know about wine.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably drink wine more than whiskey at home if I had wine at home. I just don't buy it.
Huh.
But like, I've got a few bottles of whiskey and I'll touch them every once in a while, but it's pretty rare.
Also, like
just when
wine,
you
you
need
have
to
to drink
stretch.
kind of fast. Like wine
Gotta
doesn't
keep that muscle up.
sit. You have to like drink it when you open it. So
Right.
it's kind of like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
So
it's a
unless
whole
you have
bottle.
4 people or more than 2, if it's just 2, you're kind of
Weirdly,
committing.
that doesn't slow my wife down.
No.
Aw,
Oh, yeah.
She'll have it.
touche.
She seems unbothered by it.
Yeah. But I would
She'll
love
find
to
a way.
try when your
Challenge
Italian
accepted, she says.
Yeah, when your Italian keister wine comes in, bring some, because I want
Yes,
to try it.
I will.
That sounds really
Actually,
good.
bring all of it in.
Yeah.
Bring all
bring
the
the
wine
case.
in.
Yeah, bring the Italians who brought it.
They're all the
too.
same,
We'd
I
like to
know.
meet these
Yeah,
guys.
fine.
They're impressive bowels. We've got some great questions for the show, and the first one's a heavier one. Let's dive into it. Afraid my best friend is dating a sexual predator. Hey, friends, I love your podcast. The topics you all cover and how you do so with humor and humility are so important. Thank you for doing this gig in addition to your emotional day jobs. My best friend, we'll call her Annie, 45 years old, and I, also 45, have been close for almost 40 years. We're very much like sisters. We grew up together. We're college roommates, then lived only 3.5 hours away from each other until about 10 years ago when I, a mental health professional, finished grad school and moved from the South to New England. Even though we are 1,500 miles away from each other, we make it a priority to spend time together throughout the year. We've been by each other's sides and often joke that couples can only be so lucky to have a marriage like ours. Oh, that's cute. A few years ago, I discovered that Annie was having an affair with my single older brother, who lives in our hometown. She had gone home to visit her dad, who was in the ICU, had dinner and drinks with my brother to get away from the stress, and they ended up hooking up. The affair continued. They were convinced that they were in love and wanted to spend their lives together. She filed for divorce from her husband the next month. A week after her divorce was finalized, she and my brother broke up. She flew to New England to spend Valentine's Day with me and my husband. While at my house for the week, she downloaded Tinder. I was not supportive of this decision as she gets emotionally attached quite quickly. No emotional attachment to her father, married her husband within months of her mother dying, etc. Her intention was to flirt with some guys without expectations. She matched with a guy called Sean, who was witty, smart.
Nobody likes people named Sean.
No.
Sean, who was witty, smart, and was a massive love bomber. They exchanged numbers when she flew home against my advice. In April, we went on our annual vacation to visit our other best friend who lives out of the country. While she was incredibly intoxicated, had to be carried out of a 5-star hotel restaurant after drinking too much and vomiting all over herself at our table during brunch. She shared her text message exchanges with Sean. They were very sexual. Example, him asking her to sleep with a guy we just met at a bar so he could watch.
Oh, shit.
Yikes. Naked images exchanged, phone
Typical
sex,
first date stuff.
etc. So much.
That's why you don't fuck with people named Sean.
Yeah.
Fuck Sean. Well, don't fuck Sean. So much so that both my friend, his partner, and I were very concerned and shared this with her at length. She and I continued talking about how dangerous and irresponsible her decisions have been over the last several months while on our 12-hour flight. I did some digging, and Sean's only online existence was a LinkedIn profile with no photo and one job. Educational consultant.
Is he friends with Jim?
I think he is. Everybody is.
Jim's got a big
Ultimately,
LinkedIn presence.
I end up with everybody else.
LinkedIn.
I'm everybody's LinkedIn friend. As he only lives an hour from me, I asked everyone I knew who worked in education if they knew this guy. Nothing. A month later, Annie found him online. As you could probably guess, the dude's name is not Sean. He was a former teacher who has been on house arrest since 2021 and charged with grooming, sexually assaulting, and raping one of his female students from the time she was 11 years old until she was 17 years old.
Yeesh.
Trigger warning.
Thanks, Jim.
Yep, got in there late, but there it is. His trial continued being pushed back from...
Everybody who introduces themselves as Sean is lying about what their real name is.
Yeah,
Obvi.
nobody's actually
No one
named
wants
Sean.
to be named
No.
Sean.
His trial continued being pushed back from 2021 to September of 24. Annie was devastated. A few days after discovering this, she wanted to call him on it. I begged her to just block him and work on moving forward and grieving the loss of her marriage, family structure, relationship with my brother, and focus on rebuilding her relationship with her son. She disclosed that she and Sean had sent almost 8,000 messages in the 59 days they had known each other. At this point, she had finally started seeing a therapist and promised me that she would block him and even sent me the screenshot showing that she had. Fast forward to June, she surprises me with a visit for my birthday. Doesn't speak a word of Sean. We had a lovely weekend. She also surprised me with a trip to Europe to see one of our favorite bands in July, which was absolutely amazing and beyond generous. This was totally unexpected. She loves giving gifts, but this was really over the top. Things got busy in the fall, and we weren't connecting via phone as much, but still text. I was scheduled to fly down to go to a concert with her at the end of September. She was being flighty and changing plans. I felt that there was more to the story, but assumed she was spending a lot of time with her son and rebuilding their relationship, as that's what most of our conversations were about. On a Friday night, I received a text from her that read, "He's not guilty. I can't talk right now, but I have so much to fill you in on about Sean." I was sick. She tells me that she had never stopped talking to him, was in love with him, and believed him and his story, which was that the victim, a young girl at the time, now 20, was obsessed with him. When he began cheating on her mom, she made up the whole story to get back at him. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It didn't sound like Annie speaking. She told me that she had been speaking to her therapist about Sean this entire time, and even she didn't see any red flags. I tried everything I could to help her see that she had been manipulated this entire time. She was unable to even discuss the thought that even though he was not convicted of the crime because there was, quote, no proof, doesn't mean he didn't do it. She was unable to even discuss the fact that less than 5% of those who are charged with sexual assault are actually found guilty. She was unable to even discuss that we know stories like the one he has told are the reason victims do not report their assaults. But she was able to tell me to fuck off after I tried explaining to her that she has been in a crisis state since last October. My last words to her were, "I cannot and will not support you in this." I haven't spoken with her since that night, which was almost 6 weeks ago. My initial reaction was that I'm going to build my own case against this guy. Following my comments on a local news social media post about the not guilty verdict, the victim's aunt connected with me, then the victim and her mother. Her story hurts my heart, and I wish I had a magic wand to fix it. I believe her. Her former teachers that testified on the prosecution's behalf believe her. DCF, which I think is probably Department of Children and Family Services, believes her. But Annie is convinced that Sean was wrongfully accused. So, my question to you all. What in the hell do I do? I'm furious that my best friend lied to me about blocking him and even hid from me while we were in Europe so she could text him. I'm frustrated to have to watch her make more impulsive decisions that not only impacts her, but her kid. I'm irritated that when this all falls apart, it will be me having to pick up the pieces, which is what I've continuously done for her. I'm sad to watch someone I love so much care so little about themselves. I'm scared because I truly feel that he is guilty and that she, too, is being abused. I feel selfish for thinking that her extravagant birthday gift to me was to make her feel better for lying to me. I feel guilty because I feel like I've given up on her. Again, I'm so sorry this is so terribly long. Signed, Jay.
Ooh-wee. That is a lot. It's a lot of tea.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like anything we need to cover. Moving on.
On to trivia.
Well, at least we were right about the Sean thing. You know? Like, I'm glad we came out fast and
small
furious.
victories.
Have we ever been wrong about the Sean thing?
I think, when we take a hard stand based on only a name.
We're anti-Sean.
I think we always land on our feet. So, the Sean thing worked. Even though apparently his name's not really Sean.
Well, that's true.
Nobody's real name is Sean.
Yeah, sure.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Kind of is.
If we haven't learned anything else, we've learned that.
So you don't have a script in front of you, Jacob. So you have to go entirely off of my voice. How do you feel the name Sean is spelled?
SEAN.
Oh,
see, okay.
Oh, wow.
See, I was going to say No, I think this is the right way.
You think this is the SHAWN?
No,
See,
this is
That's the person I know
That's
named
what I
Sean
think
as
of. I think of
SHAWN.
WN.
Most people are EA, though.
SHAUN.
This is a
Oh,
UN.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sean.
Sean.
Shaun. No, that's the W. The W is Shaun.
All right, let's hear it with you then.
Oh, see, now I don't know. See, now I'm just...
Yeah, fuck
now
you with your criticism of
No,
my
but
pronunciation
I
of
feel
that
like
he's
shitty
gonna come
person's
correct.
name.
I feel like SEAN, like Sean Bean, is that's very confusing.
I also know a guy in town whose
it's
name is
Sheen.
spelled SEAN, and he pronounces it Scene.
No.
He should. He should.
Yep, I do.
He's right.
Oh,
Scene
my
Bean.
gosh.
Scene Bean. It rhymes. That's correct.
Yeah, he works for Piff.
He's correct.
really?
That guy's on the right side of this. Anyway, great question, writer. Thanks for writing in. We're going to take a break.
I hope that helped.
All right. So, Whitney, let's talk about getting so
Whitney's
involved.
been off for a few weeks. Whitney, handle
Yeah,
it.
let me
fucking,
brush the
we're going on
cobwebs
break.
off.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Let's get the rust out of you. So, let's talk about this friendship and getting so
know.
invested. What are your thoughts on this?
I was trying to put myself.
Where do you want to start?
I know that's part of the thing. The Sean thing was a great place to start. But second place to go, I was trying to put myself in the writer's shoes because I do have a really good friend. They haven't gone through all this, but I was like, man, I have a person in my life who I feel like I would be like, you're my sister. And if they took the turns that this person is taking, Annie is taking, oh my gosh, I feel like it's easy reading it out loud to just jump to like, oh, well, let her live her life. And if she wants to do that, then fine, because you have no control over it. Sure. Yeah. That's like the obvious
Easy to
go-to.
say.
Very easy to say. But when it is somebody who you are so close to,
Right.
how do you balance like being there for them, resenting being there for them because you feel like they do this over and over again. But with people we love, especially you guys working in addictions, with people we love, they do hurtful things over and over again, and there's still people in their lives who stick it out and stick with them.
I think this is a good example too of how what often happens when you set a lot of these like hard boundaries, the person's immediate response isn't going to be, I mean, if they feel this strongly about something, whether it's a person or a substance, if they feel this strongly about it, their first reaction isn't going to be like, okay, I will stop doing this so that I can maintain a relationship with you.
Correct.
It's all you're going to do is you're just going to try to find a way to push it underground.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not seen, so I can have the both.
SEAN.
Correct. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes.
Something that also came to mind is kind of like cults.
Yeah.
You know, when you see a friend or family member
Right.
like get sucked into something culty, it doesn't even have to be a super serious one, but
Right.
you're like, what are you doing? Or this
Right.
is unhealthy. This is hurtful. You're being manipulated.
Yeah.
All these things. But they are their own adults.
Yeah, like they're getting
autonomous
really
adults.
into like BTS or whatever, and you're like, this is we need to start.
I was
talking
actually thinking
this.
about that TikTok cult that was the Netflix documentary.
Oh, the sex one? They're all sex ones.
Yeah. Can you be a little bit more
The
specific?
like
Yeah.
IXII one or whatever. Like
Name the
No,
non-sex
not
cults
that
you know
one.
about.
This
Name the
one's
cults that have nothing to do with sex.
yeah.
they're hard
This
to
one's a
find.
dancing one, mainly dancing. There's still a little sex stuff, but
Yeah.
mostly
sex
it's
dancing.
Yeah,
mostly it's dancing.
Dancing is sex
dancing and
stuff.
religion. You know,
Yeah. What
they
it
make up
is.
their own religion. Yeah, no,
Great.
it's like 5M or 5
yeah,
whatever.
one of
Yeah.
those.
But
3M,
anyway,
I believe it's a brand.
Oh, okay. Well, so I thought about that because the whole show is about like this family who was super close, and then one of the daughters gets kind of sucked in, and it's like makes you feel crazy because you're like, we
Right.
had this whole relationship, we have this history together, and you're just leaving it all for
Right.
this seemingly random to you thing.
Yeah.
But how do you get the person back, or how do you change things?
Yeah. And it's so interesting because, like, it's interesting that the writer, Jay, is a mental health professional.
Yes, that-
and is saying, like, Annie is seeing a therapist. And I think that we can all appreciate the weird juxtaposition of this, right? Because, like, if I'm in that therapist's shoes,
I thought about that
I'm
too.
not going to blow whistles very hard on Sean.
No.
Because then Annie's going to do to me what she's doing to you,
Yes.
Jay.
Yeah.
And I need to at least be in the fucking cave with her.
Yes.
In case shit really gets bad.
Yes.
That I'm close enough in proximity to grab her off the fucking train tracks, right? So, like,
Yeah.
somebody's got to wander into the cave with her.
Yes.
At least to be near and
This
help.
happens with teens that I work
Yes.
with because the parents
Yep.
like, oh my gosh, you're like, she says you just agree with her
Right.
or whatever.
Why aren't you correcting her?
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
she's
like,
got plenty of that.
My
You're
job
doing
is
that.
not to,
Yeah.
to correct her. My job is, to sit in the cave with her.
This happens
Exactly.
all the time, though. Like when friends and family of the patient are concerned because they're like, she's clearly doing this toxic thing. She's clearly in a bad relationship. This guy has all these red flags. What are you doing, therapist? And like it's, and I don't hear Jay saying that, but
Yeah,
like
I don't
I know
either.
that there are listeners thinking that, and it comes up a lot.
It's a good thing to
and it's a
touch on.
tough thing, for us to explain to them that like you deeply misunderstand the amount of authority I have in this person's life. I'm not a referee. I'm not a judge. I'm not the one that's going to say this and they're going to be like, "You're right, Nick." I'm going to take it completely on your authority.
Yeah.
That I'm just going to no longer be in love with Sean now.
Yeah, because you as the therapist can't change the behavior. All you're really doing is you're teaching the client, oh, I can't talk about this stuff to Jim.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening.
Now we're just lying.
Same behaviors are going to happen. You're just the
Right, yeah.
therapist isn't going to know about it.
Well, and
And
also,
it's easy. I mean, you could just think about like if you are doing something in your life that you really enjoy doing, what kind of friend, like what level of friend would have to come to you and be like, hey, on my word, don't do that thing anymore.
Right. You're just going to have to take it, even
Yeah.
though you don't see what I see.
That's it.
My authority alone needs to be enough, and I'm
Like,
going to try to convince you.
Think about like that doesn't sound like a parent would be able to pull that off. That doesn't
It
sound like
never happens.
most loved ones.
Well, and think
like you
about-
gotta have a really special place in someone's life, like insanely special.
Insanely.
And say
I
it
would
just
argue,
a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would argue it's not possible. And
It
like,
might not be.
Well, this also goes back to something.
It's one of those things that may have literally never happened.
No, it probably not, because like even when you think about what therapists do, oftentimes we are professional mind changers. And that is a very delicate, unique process that we cannot do without your consent. You have to want us to do that. And even when you come in and say, I really need to stop using these drugs, you're still going to tell us, I keep using these drugs. And if we look at you and go, stop using the drugs, then you're going to be like, well, I'm just not going to tell you about this
Yeah.
anymore. It's like, you literally paid me to come in here and help you stop using the
Yeah.
drugs. And even that person, so
Thanks a lot,
motivated.
Nancy Reagan.
Yeah, just say no. But like it takes so much influence, and the way that we have to do it is such a light touch that and ultimately does work because we can create a safe space for somebody to doubt it themselves. Like if I never come out against Sean, then I give you space to vent about when you are upset at Sean. And like you're, if I'm your therapist, then you can talk to me about it. Be like, so how are things going with Sean lately, Whitney? And for you to be able to say, well, sometimes he asks me to do some sexual things that like I'm not all the way comfortable with, but he's a really great guy, Jim. And I'm like, oh, I know he is. He's a sweetheart.
You kind
And
of
like
like validate.
Yeah, I'm on your side. And like,
Yeah.
you know how
Y'all
Sean's
have
a
a-
sweetheart,
y'all have a
right?
good
Oh, I know.
relationship.
But I think that you've also told me like Sean has a spicy side, and it's
That is
okay that you're not
exactly yes.
right. And so we're gonna, and then they're gonna be like,
He's the
"You
good
get
Sean."
It.
Yep.
Yeah, you get it, Jim. I mean, and
And they
yes,
tell you more and
Sean has
more,
a spicy side.
yes, of
But
that.
the other day he was taking it a little far and be like, "Oh, well, Whitney, tell me more about that." Like, and just so you know, I know who Sean. You've told me who he really
Oh
is.
my
I know
gosh,
his
yes,
heart.
yep.
I know how you feel about him. But hey, we're grown-ups. We can talk about this. And I want your relationship with Sean to be healthy. So tell me more. And like, well, he wants me to sleep with a random stranger at a bus stop. I'm like, okay, how do
And
you
that's
feel
tough.
about that? And like now that the opportunity for mind change exists because she is disarmed and now she can talk about it. A therapist can do that.
That is the
Your
only
friend fucking can't.
Yeah.
that is the only way Annie's mind is going to change on
Yes.
this is if Annie chooses to change her mind on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
it.
only way that environment is possible is in that therapeutic rapport that is non-judgmental and gets back to those Rogerian principles. But this is where I think it's really hard to be Annie. Or not Annie, but Jay.
Yeah.
Because as Whitney was just
Jay
saying,
is the writer.
Yes.
Yeah.
we can, as three therapists and a sophisticated life coach with a doctorate.
Thank you.
We can all sit here and say,
We
this
all
is how
have
you
lots
should
of
do
credentials,
It.
I think is what
we
you're trying to say.
all- There's really no reason to name or itemize them.
Right.
Or who
Everyone
possesses
here
them.
has many, many credentials.
They're all just around. We're lousy with them. But like as therapists, we can sit here and say that's what it takes to change the person. And yet, if we were in Jay's position, we would be completely incapable of offering that kind of relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the dynamic. I'm too attached to you. As a therapist, I'm prepared to watch you destroy your life and stand there whenever you're ready to talk about it. And I can detach enough that I care about you and I want to see you succeed, but I'll give you the dignity of risk.
Yeah.
But if you're like a sister to me, and we grew up together, and I love you, I think of you as family, therapist or not, trained or not, I don't think I can sit here and watch. And so I understand from Jay's perspective and kind of what you were saying, Whitney, you were humanizing Jay and saying, look, Jay probably knows better academically, but she's too close to this. And this is why even if you're a completely trained therapist, if it's your family, your friends, we're powerless to help.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
I mean, is there anything to do besides just be there for the friend?
Yeah, man, this is so tough. Okay, I don't blame Jay. So I want to talk about how enmeshed Jay is, right? Like, we got to talk about this because Jay is taking so much onus to the point where Jay is looking to prosecute.
Yeah.
Jay
Yeah,
is getting
I'm
on
gonna go
social
after him.
media.
Yeah.
Jay is starting to knock on doors that sound like stalking. And even if you're stalking a bad person, you're not a fucking Netflix documentary crew doing
Jim
a true
knows
crime
about
special.
stalking.
And-
you can't do this.
I would just
You
point
can't
out.
do that if you're a documentary crew either. You can't do illegal things as a
I would-
documentary
I
crew.
mean, I would-
Touche. This is a good point.
I would just point out here that from Jay's perspective, that seems like a logical step to take
Right.
for someone you
Right.
care about.
Right.
You're
When
protecting
you have
a
to
loved
do
one.
something,
Yes,
I want
exactly.
to do something.
Right.
Yeah. And so, like,
I can't be passive about this scenario. I
Yeah.
have to be active. The
Yep.
one thing I can do is find out about this Sean person.
this is all about
Fucking
perspective
Sean.
because all of us, I think, from the outside looking at this, kind of are on the same page. And we're all like,
Yeah.
okay, there's not a whole lot you can do here. You getting active and trying to create your own case and prosecute that case, like all of us from the outside are looking at that and saying, like, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. Nothing positive is really going to come from that. But I also can appreciate that from Jay's perspective,
Right.
that all makes complete sense.
I'm not arguing that it's not logical to Jay, but from the outside looking in, I want to grab her and say, hey, you're descending into the cave, and this isn't going to lead to healthy places. It hasn't. It's led to your friend getting further from you, your
Hadn't
friend
fixed
getting
anything.
deeper into their problem. So we are not getting any better results.
This
What
there's
are you
kind of
gonna
this
do? Put a tracker
phenomenon.
on this guy and get him arrested? Like it's too much.
There's
Oh, wait,
kind
is
of
that
this,
an
There's a thought.
this phenomena that happens with debates,
Yeah.
where when you have a debate with someone, people just become more entrenched in their own positions.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and I kind of wonder if some of that too is going to, like, hypothetically, if everything goes perfectly as Jay wants it, and she's able to dig up all of this dirt, and she's able to
Right.
have a clear-cut case with evidence
Right.
that he did this, I don't think Annie is going to look at that and be like,
Yeah.
oh shit, you're right.
It was not a lack of evidence that was not
exactly,
persuading Annie.
because information
Right.
doesn't change minds.
No.
Like, that's what we've learned. That's
a
not
great
what
book you
happens.
should read on the topic is
Yes.
How Minds Change,
Yeah.
you know, by David McCraney. A great book that we're reading because we're probably going to get a chance to visit with him in the future. And in that book, he talks a lot about all the science that goes into mind change and how unequivocally we have data
Yeah.
that shows us minds do not change
Facts
when
do
presented
not
with
matter.
evidence.
Yeah.
They change based on feelings.
Yeah.
If I feel, and that's another thing too, if I'm in love with somebody, if I have a family member who becomes a criminal and they are a bad person, but they are my bad person, and you're like, you need to get away from that bad person, Jim, you're asking me to do something that I will not do.
Yeah.
And my brain is going to go through logical gymnastics to justify and rationalize what
Right.
my heart already decided.
Yeah.
I'm going down with the ship. Or that's my person, and you can't ask me not to love them, and you can't ask me not to protect them. You can't persuade me. So Nick's absolutely right. Like,
just-
that's a lost cause.
All the hoops that the three of us have jumped through to keep Jacob out from legal consequences.
Oh, I know. The
Is-
bodies we
yeah.
have buried. I mean, but I'm not quitting on him.
No, we will
because I
never-
know he's a
we'll
he's
never-
a
Appreciate y'all.
We'll never quit on
listen. Jacob's a
You already
rascal.
heard where
okay,
you're
but
at
he's
on
our
Nick's list,
rascal.
though.
Yeah. I mean, he's stabbing a man to death right now.
Yeah.
But we have
Yeah.
faith
We've
that he
looked
will
the other-
stop
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
some point.
But he leads with the killing blow, right? He doesn't torture Nick. He's not a monster.
He's a gentleman.
He's a gentleman about
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He severs because he cares.
I'll wrap up my Dexter sheet over here.
You're doing great, buddy. We're really proud of the progress.
So yeah, I think Jay sharing at the end, like, what do I do? This is sad. I'm frustrated at the idea of thinking I'm going to have to pick up the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
That sentence kind of sticks out to me because I had a few different thoughts. I know Nick did some aspects of it, but the first one is you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. Now, again, I know that's easier said than done. But the other part is if this really is somebody who's like your sister, not that you have to be besties with her for a while, take that space.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel like you're able to, let her know that, hey, I'm here whenever you're ready. No matter how much you're mad at me, how much I disagree, you can still say all the same things.
Right.
I think this is a terrible idea, but I love you and I'll be here for you if you ever need me.
I think it's really hard too when you're watching, and I think everybody can relate to this. When you've got a friend like Annie who is just self-destructive right now, she is going through something. She destroyed her marriage. She had an affair. Oh, that didn't work out. Turned out that fling was a bad idea. Like, she's been doing this self-destructive cycle, and now she's sort of addicted to love, and like that's her new drug, right? And I think it's hard whether you have a friend that's doing that or doing other things, like they're getting into drugs or they're starting to become a risk taker and they're destroying their career, they're doing all these crazy things. When you see somebody that you care about on this self-destructive pattern, it is so hard to not feel like I can't stand by and witness that. Because like I would take the argument of like, look, like if you have a person, this episode falls on election week. As we're recording it, we don't know who won. But
There's an election?
It's on, yeah. I think it's for
What are
dog
they
catcher.
electing?
Yeah, just local stuff.
I haven't seen anything about it.
But it's torn a lot of families apart. And, I know that there's a lot of like, people that are like, I can't be friends with this person because they're voting for this person who I know to be a bad person. We had a question that came through the other day about this. And and sometimes we try to say, look, 99% of your friendship is fine. Is there a way that we can sequester that 1% and be human and connect with this person in these other ways? And I kind of wish that could happen for Jay, but I understand why it can't sometimes because you're looking at a person who is just spiraling in every aspect of their life. And it's like, dude, I can't stand here and watch you set
morally
fire.
questionable. Like, they're changing, just like Jay says, they're changing ways that they thought about things before. Like, hey, we've known stories like this. We know Annie knows better, basically.
Yeah.
And she's choosing to not believe a victim.
It gets
So we agree brain tumor?
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Brain tumor affecting?
You know what? Therapeutically, we need to have her checked out medically first.
Always
That's
get
true.
checked.
Yeah.
But no, this brings up a deeper question because this comes up all the time. We've had tons of questions like this in history where people say, my wife, my friend, my family member, my father has taken a philosophical position, agrees or associates with somebody who I find morally reprehensible. And because of that choice, I can no longer associate with my person. Yeah. And I've always found that to be problematic, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're making all these inferences about their character and who they really are and how much that even fucking has to do with you.
Yeah.
Like you guys go into a U2 concert in Europe, which I assumed it was U2. I think we all did, like because it was Europe, and Bono is European.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? What are you
no
We
idea
went
what
to
you're
a
talking
European concert together.
It's the question,
the writer.
The writer.
Oh, okay.
It took me a second, but I got it.
I thought he meant Whitney.
Yeah,
I was like,
no, I was like,
I
a
did not at
concert?
first too. I'm like, I didn't know.
No, they went
to
to anyway.
Yeah.
They didn't
I went to
say
the
who
Eras
artist
tour
was.
this
That's
last
why
week.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
It was really good.
I wanted to ask about that.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. Where were we at? Anyway, so like, going to the concert thing, you can have a friendship that does that. You can have a friendship that reminisces over 40 years of history. You can have a friendship where I genuinely love you and I think I'm witnessing you spiral. But I can also appreciate that it's hard to have a friendship that doesn't talk about real things. But you might be, I don't know. I'd want to be able to at least say, look, there are things in your life that I don't think I can talk about or support you on anymore, but I still care about you.
The other thing, too, that I wanted to kind of touch on is to not, writer, to the best of your ability, not add on to current frustrations with things that you assume.
Yeah.
And you may be right for assuming them. The Europe trip reminded me of this.
Okay.
Because she was saying, it upsets me that she did this because she felt bad
Guilty,
about Well, now we're doing a lot of assuming there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that the writer, I'm not saying you're wrong. You may be right.
Yeah.
But if there's any doubt that maybe you're not right, maybe you're not correct on that, let's not add it to the pile.
I see what you mean.
You already have a lot of stuff to be upset and frustrated with Annie over.
Yeah.
We probably don't need to add this on top of it because it's a little...
It's a little
Like
told you
fueling
so.
the flame.
Yeah, in the grand scheme
It's
of
a little
things...
told you so.
In the grand scheme of things, it's not as important.
Right.
You know?
And also, she didn't do this Europe trip 100% because she felt bad about lying to you. Like,
Sure.
she also wanted to take this Europe trip.
Sure, yeah.
Like, there's
also,
other reasons to it
Yeah,
as well. Worst case scenario.
Exactly.
There's still multifaceted worst case scenario.
Right. Both could be true, and we
Yes.
don't know the ratio
Exactly.
of what to what. So it's probably best to just kind of let that one go.
And whatever the motives were, if it was mostly guilt, it's still a nice gesture born out of feeling guilty about something. That I mean,
she cares.
Give some credit.
She,
I mean, like you got to give some credit. Like at the very least, the person is reaching out and making a gesture.
She cares. She has empathy, and actually has a little bit of insight, if that's the case.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's interesting the expectations of this friendship, like, which I get were forged over decades. And I understand that there's some really big things, but like that you lied to me. You lied to me about this relationship that you know I disapprove of. And then you tried to make up for lying to me by taking me out on a concert. And at that point, I got to look at that and go, okay, I'm the one misunderstanding something. You have changed the dynamics of our friendship. You get to do that. You know,
Wait,
like
which one are you?
Yeah, who changes the dynamics?
So like Annie has
Okay.
changed the dynamics of
Oh,
our friendship.
Right, yeah,
She's
okay.
changing the rules, and she gets
Jim
to
is
decide.
speaking as Jay.
Yeah. So,
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I think so. Like,
Me too.
well, like okay. So
Again, I don't have to script
I'll,
this.
I'll,
I'm
Start over,
thinking-
start
I'll use
over.
Nick as an example. So we've been friends
Thank
for a
you.
long time. You don't tell me everything about your life. You choose to tell me whatever's going on, and
It's
that's
a bad
great.
example
If you
already.
told me some, if you were like changing jobs and you
Right.
didn't tell me about it, and then later you were like, oh yeah, I don't work there anymore. I changed jobs a while ago, and I was like offended, like wow, I can't believe you didn't tell me that, man. Like we talk career stuff all the time.
could see that.
This is something we talk about. Like why would you just not tell me?
Jim's
I
very
could
good
get
at
pissy
acting.
about that, or I could learn that there must be a reason that you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
You're changing the dynamic and the rule of our friendship, and I need to adjust with that new reality. I don't think I can get mad at you and be like, well, I thought we were the kind of people that talked about this. That was our rule. You broke the rule. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not entitled to all of your truth. You tell me what you want to tell me.
I kind of have a similar take on that as well, in that, like, if something like that happened, my immediate reaction may be, wow, I can't believe you didn't tell me.
Mm-hmm.
But before I even verbalize that, the very next thought that's going to go through my head is going to be another perspective of me saying, like, hey, Nick, maybe this ain't about you.
Right.
You know, because I think that's the other thing too, that I really try to understand that, like, not everything is about me, and people's lives are going to go on. People are going to be doing things, and I don't necessarily need to know about it.
He has his
But
reasons.
there is something to calling out a change in a pattern.
That's
Yes,
what I was about to say.
yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
again, going back to my little sister friend, like, if this were happening, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, and I really don't, I mostly
Maybe
take
more
your
hurt
stance,
than
Nick,
angry,
but
but
hurt,
something.
that's what I was about to say. Hurt is the feeling behind the anger, is secondary emotion there, because it's like, you've told me everything else. We've been friends since we were 5. Like, what? And maybe then the next question is why.
Yeah.
But the initial response is absolutely going to be like hurt and maybe anger from hurt.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
Annie is in a form of denial. I think she's in this sort of addicted to love, sort of self-destructive pattern.
Yeah, you think you're immune to this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
gosh,
gymnastics
people-
I mean, it's closer to the truth to say you can't get enough.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you're going to have to face it.
Yeah.
You're addicted to love.
Yeah, I think
I was like, oh no, I don't know the lyrics to that song, but I have a feeling that's them.
I pulled him up 5 minutes ago.
There we go.
I've been waiting for that bit for 5 minutes.
timing. Comedy is timing. Good patience,
yeah.
my man. Way to not get ahead of it.
I was like, it'll come back
You
around.
could have thrown the pitch a few times, and you could have even set me up on it, and you didn't. You
It
waited.
was coming.
You knew.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
No, I thought of an example. I think I'm like 90% sure my friend's okay me sharing this, but my friend that I've known since I was 10, when she got married, I made this comment to her thinking I was being helpful. Y'all are gonna love this.
Always good. Always a
Y'all
good
are
place to
gonna
begin.
love it. I was like, hey, if things don't work out and you guys end up getting a divorce.
This was on the wedding day?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember when it was. It was
at the reception.
I know, it may have even been like a year after they were married. I don't remember, but it was close to like around when they got married. I was like, if y'all do divorce, like it's okay. You're good. Like
You'll be okay.
There's a lot of like guilt, I
Your
think,
heart
and
was
shame.
in the right place.
Yes.
I get what you're
Right.
saying.
So again, we
And
were
then she called
very young.
Whitney a
We're in our
bitch.
early
Yeah.
20s when I was saying this.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
And she had gotten pregnant and like they were kind of getting married because of that. It was just like a lot of like other things going on. So anyway, I made that statement, didn't think anything of it, thinking I'm being supportive. Well, years later, she's like, hey, you said this to me and it really upset me like that you said that. And as an older married person now, I'm like, yep, I
You're
see
like, oh, shit.
totally
I
see
did say
how
that.
that's kind of fucked up or whatever.
That's on me.
They are divorced now. And she's like, and he's, he fell into addiction actually and has a lot of stuff going on. But it turned into things really spiraled into like a really messed up situation by the end. And I don't know, she says later on, she's like, eventually I did see that as helpful, but you have to kind of sit in that with the person. Like, you mean well. And I thought it was 50-50 if they were going to work. I really did, like typical marriage, whatever.
Sure.
I'm like,
Those are
we'll
the
see. But you kind of sit with them and you want to be there for your friends when you come out of that.
Even with your friends, you have to kind of earn that spot.
Yeah.
Even with good friends, you kind of have to earn that spot. And the way you earn that spot, in my experience, is through acceptance of the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if that person is dating someone, marrying someone, whatever it is. I mean, I've got friends that I can point out right now.
Yeah.
That I'm like, hey, that person is dating this. That's not going to be great. That's going to be bad in about a year, or so, maybe less, maybe 2 weeks. Who knows? But there's nothing to do,
Right.
No.
because being able to have having the license to really have that this isn't working out conversation with your friend is like you have to earn that specific license.
Yeah.
And you have to do it every it's not like you can do it once and then you're just the relationship guru.
Yeah.
Like you have to. That person has to know and has to truly understand that you're doing it out of love and compassion for them,
Right.
and that you understand it. You understand the whole picture, even as they see it. And sometimes they're not going to see it terribly clearly.
Yeah.
But that's tough.
I think that's the heart and soul of this. And, Jay, at the end of the day, I think you have to hear what Annie is really telling you. Annie is making it sound like she's just not persuaded. But I think what she's really telling you is whether he did these things or not, I'm in love with him.
Yeah.
I'm a grown woman and I'm going to make these choices. You are a stakeholder in her life. You're not wrong for wanting to protect her. You're not wrong or overstepping for believing that you have a right to step in and speak to her directly and plead for her to see the truth. And many of friend and family members tried to have an intervention and wake somebody up. But throughout our careers, in all sorts of different capacities, we have seen that sometimes a person is just not ready to change. And if you go back through our catalog into Patreon, Nick, I think you did a deep dive on the
Trans-theoretical model of change?
Yes. And that is,
Wow.
you know...
Say that 5 times so.
Yeah.
Trans-theoretical model of
Here we
change.
go.
Trans-theoretical model of change.
It's actually pronounced trans-theoretical. Yeah. You got to get some German
Was your
flux
deep
in
dive
there.
into that less than 6 hours?
Yeah.
It was, believe it or not. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Came
Jay,
in about
that would be
5:37.
Yeah, that would be a great thing to
The
go back and
Goldilocks
visit.
zone.
And you're a trained mental health professional, but I would encourage you to revisit that because if a human is not yet ready to think about change, if they are still pre-contemplative about the problem, there is nothing you can do. The only thing that will move them and advance them along through those stages is experiences and an internal awareness and insight. And so that puts you in a terrible position where unfortunately you have to watch somebody destroy their life in slow motion, and you have to figure out what is my relationship to that? What is my proximity to that?
Yeah.
So right-sizing what you can do and can't do in the situation, I think will help you get some distance from it without necessarily having to nuke the whole relationship, which it appears you guys have done for 6 weeks. But one last word of caution from Jim, and this will be my last thought on the matter. Please be very careful. You seem like you are flirting with some very interesting things. Getting into this man's life, looking him up, contacting victims, going to the press, harassing him or defaming him on social media, which, hey, fuck Sean. I'm not on Team Sean. but I sure don't want to see you get entangled. I don't want to see you get entangled in his legal troubles. I don't want him identifying who you are. I don't want you getting more and more involved in something that is not your life. You live 3,000 miles away from your friend. You live in a different place. You have a family of your own life. And I don't think it's healthy for you to get this entangled into this man's story and his criminality, trying to expose him or get him caught in a new crime. This is a lot. And I don't see anything about that that's healthy for you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. And Robert Palmer is a national treasure.
Arnold Palmer?
Robert
Palmer.
okay.
Yeah, it's a different drink.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't mix...
Bob Palmer.
Yeah, Bobby P.
Yeah.
as we called him on the street.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jay, good luck with this. I hope that we gave you some perspective on it, some feedback. And again, look up the trans-theoretical model of change. I really think you should dwell on that for a while. You know, coming from your professional side, I think that will help you inform what you're capable of influencing as a friend and where to just give people the dignity of risk and the dignity of discomfort. And she's going to learn through pain. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about how to begin to make our own life decisions. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Today's episode is brought to you by Ben, Don, Malia, Richard Macy, Sunny Boy, Thunder Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Slurpee Kai, Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Elena, Sam Cohn, and Jake Schneider. And if you would like to sponsor the show, become a therapy producer by heading over to patreon.com/therapy and signing up over there. Okay, trivia. Here we go. Mental health in the animal kingdom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, we got a few of these. All right. Cool. Here we go. Which animal is known to have a midlife crisis where they suddenly change their social behavior, much like human beings, buy sports cars or changing careers in their 40s? Is it chimpanzees, orcas, dolphins, or macaws?
Oh, wow.
I want dolphins. I was sitting over here thinking dolphins the whole time.
I'll bet you
I want
it
dolphins.
is.
I've never seen a dolphin buy a sports car.
Wow.
Yeah.
You've never been to Miami.
I've seen them, date younger dolphins. I think sometimes they go through that crisis,
Yeah.
That's the whole
Orca.
thing. Going with orca. I'll take the chimps.
Orca's solid.
I'm going to go macaws.
All right.
All
We're
right.
spreading the board on this one. I like it.
Okay, the answer is chimpanzees.
Hell
the one
yeah!
none of us got.
Oh,
Oh,
give me
did you
them
pick that one?
points. Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, these idiots picked the sea life animals.
Yeah.
I
No,
was
I've read
picking
about
chimps.
dolphins, like, maybe it wasn't midlife, but I've read about them
Yeah.
going down and, like, getting, like, plants and things like that and putting it on themselves and, like, decorating themselves.
I have
and
heard of
swimming
it.
around.
I've also heard they use drugs.
Yeah, yeah.
There's like a neurotoxin animal that they go get, and they
Yes.
just like bite the shit out of it to get high, right? And then they pass it to each other,
Oh
and they're
my
all just
gosh.
high,
Right.
And when they're high, they're just like, woo!
No, dolphins are just the hippie party animals of the sea.
Wow. All right. What creatures have been observed participating in funerals where they cover deceased members with leaves and stand vigil, indicating complex emotional
Oh
behaviors?
my gosh! Wow.
Elephants, crows, ants, gorillas.
Oh, I like all those.
I'm going to go elephants.
Elephants was mine.
I like
Yeah.
elephants. I'll go crows.
I'm gonna take elephants too. I feel like I've seen a TikTok
Come on,
on
crows.
this.
Come on,
Ants.
crows.
Ants. Huh.
Lame.
The crow of the insect world.
All right,
Right.
I would like to take issue with this now. This
right.
came from Emma, right?
Write a letter.
All right,
We will
listen,
continue this
intern. I have
quiz
thoughts.
with Jim's issue.
Yeah. I now continue under protest. So I don't think that demonstrates sophisticated emotional behavior. I think it demonstrates something I've read about ants, that to protect the colony from quarantine, they are very interested in dead ants. And so like they give it a wide berth, they're covering them with leaves, things like that may have to do with protecting the colony from disease. And like, I don't know about standing vigil, but I could see them creating like a scent boundary that you don't cross and creating a boundary to quarantine a dead ant or many
Okay.
to protect the colony.
Make note of this
Yeah.
so we can bring it up during her review.
Yeah. It's going in the file.
Yep.
All right, there it is.
All right, last one. Which animals are known to engage in laughter when tickled?
Oh my gosh.
Ants.
Hyena.
Suggesting that the roots of human joy and humor are shared with them.
Wow.
Rats, parrots, dolphins, or dogs?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, dolphins.
I feel like
right?
all of the above.
Oh,
I'm going to go with rats.
I feel like
going
it is
dolphins.
rats.
Rats is pretty good.
Yeah.
What was it? Rats, dolphins?
Rats, parrots, dolphins, or dogs?
I'll take parrots.
Parrots is a
Yeah, I'm
good guess.
going-
I said dolphins.
Dolphins?
I'll take rats.
That's what I said. So let's see here.
So now it's going to be dogs.
Yeah.
It is rats.
Yay!
Rat club for
That's
life.
so
Yeah.
interesting. They laugh. Also, can you think of anything more terrifying than a laughing rat?
Rats are cute.
Yeah,
I
not a
just
laughing one.
I just
That's
watched a
fucked up.
whole.
Didn't you used to be in a band called Laughing Rat?
Yeah. That's
I just
before
watched a little
quit.
mini documentary the other day about rats in Cambodia. It's a special breed of rat. They're very big. They're the size of like a small house cat.
Wow.
But they're very smart as well. And they weigh about 2 pounds.
Terrifying.
Wow.
And they use them because they can be trained to find landmines.
Oh.
Unexploded landmines. And they're not heavy enough to set them off.
Oh.
And they can cover, I think they said like the size of a football field in about 4 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is insane.
They're very efficient.
Bomb sniffing rats.
Yeah.
That's cool.
They found like hundreds of unexploded landmines and like hundreds of other unexploded ordinances in places there in Cambodia.
Okay,
That's
listener.
amazing.
That's
you can't say
incredible.
you didn't learn anything from Pod Therapy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have y'all
I
ever
watched a documentary.
That's right. Now you don't have to.
have y'all ever heard a hyena laugh in real
Yes.
life?
Oh, no, that sounds terrifying,
It's
though.
the creepiest
Yeah, it's weird.
fucking thing I've ever heard. Like, I don't know why. It must be like a what's that word?
So it
Primal.
doesn't sound like Whoopi Goldberg in The Lion King?
No, it
Oh
sounds
my
exactly
gosh.
like it. That's what's creepy about it.
It is. It's like such a real. It is just. It's creepy. I can't explain how visceral my reaction was. Like hearing it, I was just like, oh my god.
I want to
Yeah.
look this up, but I don't know how
Yeah.
to spell hyena.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the docuseries that Whitney was talking about earlier is Dancing for the Devil,
Yes.
the 7M TikTok cult.
7M. I was one of those
Yeah.
M's. We said 3 and 5.
Yeah, so Dancing for the Devil.
they got
it's
a
on
devil
Netflix.
in there.
All right.
So yeah.
Next question. How can I
you, Jacob.
begin to
You
make
got it.
my own life decisions? Hi, Pod Therapy team. I've been a Patreon subscribed listener for a while and have submitted a few questions in the past. So thank you all
Who told you
so
to do
much.
that?
Thank you all so much for the advice you've given to me and others. For context, I'm a 29-year-old male and my pronouns are he, him, and his. My question relates to a pattern I've noticed throughout my life. I've always struggled with trusting my own thoughts, opinions, and beliefs. I find it difficult to motivate myself to make changes or direct my life in a way that makes me happy. At this point, I'm not even sure who I am or what I want. One of the earliest examples I can remember is from my childhood. I hated brushing my teeth and washing my face because the water was always so cold. I just thought, this is how it is. Until one day I realized I could mix the hot and cold water, and the temperature wasn't an issue anymore. I know that sounds silly, but I remember thinking, why didn't I think of that before? Why didn't anyone tell me I could do that? This is a small example, but I've had similar experiences throughout my life. For instance, I was hesitant and anxious to ask for a different haircut than the bowl cut I usually got, worried about what others would think and whether I'd stand out or be judged for making a change. A bigger example was in high school when my dad made an offhand comment, "You're in therapy. Maybe you could go to college and major in psychology." I latched onto this idea and later graduated with a psychology degree without really considering what kind of job or career I was setting myself up for. I just knew I wanted...
Not a good one.
I just knew
Nick agrees.
I just knew I wanted my dad's approval, and I figured he couldn't disapprove of a path he had suggested. After I graduated, I worked at a rehab facility because a friend recommended it, and later, when I burned out, my dad suggested I apply for an entry-level job at a company he had connections with. Of course, that felt like the safe choice, so I did that as well. Even now, when I thought about getting into hiking as a hobby, my first instinct was I should ask someone to show me where the good hikes are, instead of just Googling it and finding out for myself. Throughout my life, I've felt the need to validate my choices by seeking approval from others. How do I take control of my life and become a more self-directed person? I've recently started therapy again after a long break, and I'm excited to work on this with a professional. But of course, I wanted to get some advice from you guys, because of course I do. As a follow-up question, I've heard that difficulty with planning for the future and making decisions can be related to trauma. However, I haven't had any significant traumatic experiences that I can point to and say, that's what caused this. Is it possible to have a trauma response without an obvious traumatic event? Any feedback would be helpful, especially any advice on how to bring this up with my new therapist. Thank you for reading my question, as rambly as it may be, Anonymous.
I think the right thing to do would just be to tell the writer no,
Mm-hmm.
and move on.
Yeah. 'Cause yep. I see what you did there. They're writing in saying, "What should I do?" We can't enable the writer.
I always ask people what I should do. What do you guys think I should do?
I know. That's why I started off with.
How do I stop needing other people's advice? We start right now, buddy.
Or
Yeah.
maybe we make our advice so bad
Yes.
And-
Sends them
intentionally.
to rock bottom.
Yeah.
You know what? Challenge accepted.
You see
I
the
think we run that.
signs, but you can't read.
There it is.
You're running at a different speed. Your heart beats in double time. Another kiss, and you'll be mine. Is there anything that Robert Palmer can't solve?
Wow.
Oh man.
This is interesting because I think therapy attracts people who sometimes have this, where they are really indecisive and they want you to just be their 8-ball, right? And they're coming to you all the time. Not of Coke, the magic 8-ball. Sorry.
Like,
I saw the confusion on your
Yeah.
face. It's like,
It's
wait,
like,
let me go back a step. They want you to be their compass. And so there's a lot of people that like that's how they process decisions is they want to bounce it off somebody else. They're collaborative thinkers.
Right.
Which, by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with.
No.
I think that's a style
It's
of
like
human
outward
thought.
processing, kind of.
Yes, exactly. And I think therapy does attract people that, may be in that way of thinking. Comes up a lot.
Good. So you guys don't think there's anything wrong with that, is what you're saying?
Yeah, there's nothing
Good,
wrong.
good. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong.
Good.
with it.
Okay,
You're
good,
fine.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about the fact that what started this was actually the client, or like the client, here I am, the writer, saying, hey, I figured this out on my own. The cold water was bothering me. And their perspective was, why didn't anyone tell me this? So, yeah, you didn't rely on anyone else. You just figured out, hey,
Yeah.
I'll turn the hot water on. But instead of the perception being, look, I figured this out, it was
Right.
like,
They lost
shifting-
faith in their own judgment. I think that
Yeah.
they were like, oh my
Right.
God, I didn't know this. What else am I doing in life? And I don't know. I need to question my own
Yeah.
thinking. And it seems like that's
But-
kind of the way it backfired on
But
them.
like the perception, that seems like just how that was perceived. But a different way to view that is like you did figure it out.
Yeah.
Like you
The
are
experiment
capable. Like
resulted in something.
Right.
You learned as you went.
just because it didn't happen earlier, it kind of makes me think it's leading to all the self-esteem stuff. Like, oh, well, I'm just an idiot because I didn't think of turning on the hot water to make it not
Right.
cold. So now I can't trust myself. So now I need to ask everyone else what I should do.
Right.
But actually asking other people like your dad on what you should major in, or just listening to what he said and going with it, it sounds like it kind of led to burnout and not really what feels authentic to you. But yeah, it's just interesting to me that what started it was the writer actually like doing
Right.
something and it
Yeah.
working. Like, I don't know.
Here's-
It's kind of a
Do we know how old the writer is? Did they say?
29.
20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's something. I probably started really understanding this at about 29 years old. This is probably about the time in my life that I started truly understanding
Financial fraud.
that no one knows what they're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
No one has any more idea what they're talking about, writer, than you do.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
Like it's just. And you can understand that intellectually, and then you once you really understand that emotionally,
yeah.
I think that'll help with a lot of this.
Yeah. There are no grown-ups. Everybody's winging it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe like sitting in some of that uncomfortability, like you were aware, hey, I want to start hiking, and my instinct was to ask others, why didn't I just Google it? Well, then just Google it.
Then
Like
Google
then just make that cognitive decision to like do that thing that feels uncomfortable.
It does to me feel like it just needs to be a commitment. Like for the next year, this is what I'm going to do. Like you've heard people who will do that. Like they'll say like, this is going to be a yes year.
Yeah.
Like when people ask me something, I'm just going to say yes. I'm just going to go with it, or vice versa. If they're trying to set boundaries, they're going to say like, I'm going to say no to as many things as I can. You know, it sounds like that's kind of where the writer is that the writer should just be like, it's going to be my goal for 2025. I'm going to make as many decisions on my own as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and just try to set that as a goal and journal about it, write about it, you know, and just,
Right.
and anytime you feel this urge, like, oh, I need to ask somebody something, to just feel like, no, I'm going to stop myself. I'm going to figure this out myself. I'm going to go do this. And if I get it wrong, I get it wrong. You
Yeah.
know?
Right.
And
Sitting
like, yeah, but like getting it wrong is on the path to getting it right.
Yeah.
You know, so I guess just kind of allow yourself the opportunity to try different things.
I mean, you weren't getting it right listening to others. It sounds like, so there's no harm there.
This is the last time you should listen to
I was just
going
to say that. I was like,
to listen to me right now.
Yeah, listen to us. Yeah.
And then we're done.
Yeah, no more.
Okay, then no more. You're cut off.
Starting now. No, but this is a really good point. I love your point there, Nick, about like challenging yourself to enter into a new phase of decision making. And again, you being a collaborator and a workshopper or an outward processor, I think these are normal human traits.
Yeah.
And to go back to something you said at the end of your letter, you said, hey, I read somewhere that this could be a trauma response. Is that what this is? But I don't notice a trauma. There's no smoking gun. Let me just wash all that away, please. I think you're overthinking it. I don't think you need to bother with any of that. We don't need a mental illness explanation for you being a type of human that this
struggles with
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is normal. It's within the spectrum of our species. It's a way of being. There's other people that are
We're social
extremely
creatures.
independent. Yeah, and they're just the type that never ask anybody anything and just gung ho, and they're so decisive and like great. We don't look at them and go like, oh, they must have a mental illness. Like no, they're just within the palette. Like they're just
I do, but
one end. Yeah, right. Yeah. And then there's people that are highly collaborative like you, and I don't want to pathologize that. To me, I don't see anything wrong with that writer unless you feel regret. And like when you mentioned your job or the bachelor's thing, I'm curious about that because I wonder, you might knowingly look back and say, I picked this because dad seemed to approve it, and so I figured this comes from a trusted source. And by the way, like a parent suggesting a college major and a college student saying, okay, and doing that, not crazy. Like a lot of young people, that's how they find their major because they're like, the parent's like, hey, I raised you. I know you pretty good, and I've met a lot more humans than you have. I've lived decades longer than you. I can make an educated guess about things I think you do well at, right? And like probably not that far off. So I don't think there was anything wrong about that. If you ended up in life making choices that you don't feel were your own, and you feel disempowered and regret and the sense of like, man, I need to stop listening to others. I feel powerless. Great. That's whenever I like what Nick's suggesting, where we're going to work that muscle by experiencing the discomfort. And on this word comfort, we had somebody write into the show. There it is. Thank you. We had somebody write into the show because they said we all use the word uncomfortability and they would like us to stop saying it.
Discomfort.
Because we should use the word discomfort because uncomfortability is not a word.
I'm going to ask this question. This is a real question I'm going to ask right now.
Yes.
Have I ever used that word?
Apparently, we all say it because we often talk
Whitney
about
just said
dwelling in
I
discomfort.
did just now
You did.
because I was like, have I said that word? I was like,
I know I do. And so,
I
like,
probably
but
have,
we talk about it like dwelling in what is
Uncomfortability.
uncomfortable.
I mean, I'll be honest, I kind of feel like this is a Jim and Whitney thing.
It might be.
Whatever.
I think we're good.
Way
think
to-
so?
Yeah, I think
Okay,
we're
good.
fine.
yeah.
You're
In
like,
that
Whitney
case, I'm
just
just going
said
to
it.
say the lights
Whitney's
are
on.
on, but you're not home.
Yeah.
Your mind is not your own.
We're just running with all these lines now. But yeah, so I definitely don't want
I'm
you
never
to
going
think
to give you up. Never going to let you down.
There we go. So I don't think there's a cause and effect.
Pussy control. Oh.
Oh God. As far as bringing this up with your therapist, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say too, like, I mean, I agree with you. I don't think anything in here, I don't get this sense of like mental health issues at all. To me, this just seems like it's kind of like your mindset is just, some people, they're very experimental.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't like people to tell me things. I like to be able to kind of figure things out for myself. I feel like I learn it better if I'm able to get in there and just kind of fumble around, make mistakes and all that. I feel like I get a much better sense of how something is supposed to work.
Right. Which brings us back to the last letter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like you got to let people kind of figure things out too.
Yeah. But I also think that there are people who are on the opposite end of that spectrum than I am.
Right.
Who are just like, I don't want to experiment.
I'm going to get
just
it right.
tell me what it is.
Yeah.
And I think part of that may be just a time saver. They're just really focused on having the answer. The other part of it too could be just trying something and it not working is maybe perceived as a failure. More so than the type of person I am as far as the experimenter. I don't see that as it's just, oh, okay, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it doesn't mean anything to me.
Right.
You know, but I think to some people that means a lot. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I tried this. I tried getting my degree in psychology. Now I don't like it. Oh, this was terrible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know? And I think some people, like I said, on the other end of that, maybe just like, okay, well, I tried, it didn't work.
Yeah. Right.
You know?
It's interesting how the indecisive folks and the decisive folks, I think, tend to find each other. Like, it seems like there's a lot of relationships. Like, that's my
Yeah.
relationship. Like, ironically, I am the more decisive person. But I think it's because I'm impatient. And I think it's just because I'm like, fuck it. Pepperoni pizza. That's what we're buying. I already bought it.
No
It's
one
like-
has ever said that you are not sure of yourself.
Yeah. I think it's on brand. Whereas, you know, my spouse
my
is
God.
like, we, you know, do you think I have like 5 items in the checkout? Let's look at them all. I'm like, just fucking buy them. Just buy them. Like, I don't give a shit. I would rather spend that
called
money and not
impulsivity.
ever wear that
I mean,
fucking
this is
jacket
the-
than
you've-
have to talk about it.
I don't think, Whitney, you've ever heard this story, but this, like when he plays video games,
Oh, yeah, this.
if there's an introduction, he's done.
Yeah. If there's a loading screen.
He needs
I
to
can't.
play start and he needs to be playing the game
Yeah.
within like 5 seconds.
If there's a
Otherwise,
tutorial-
this game sucks.
I can't fucking do it. I can't. I can't.
And
do
you
it.
set up the Traeger grill
Yeah.
or whatever you got. What was it?
Yeah.
Blackstone.
Oh, yeah,
Blackstone.
the Blackstone.
Blackstone.
So here's
sorry.
another example of this. So we hosted a
His son
Halloween
built
at
it.
our house. Yeah, my son. He builds everything.
Right.
So we hosted Halloween, and we had family members that were going to come by. And so my wife was like, hey, we got to figure out like food stuff. You know, what do you want to do? And I was like, pizza. We're doing pizza. She's like, well, I was thinking maybe some barbecue pork, but then we'd have to figure out this crock pot thing. I'm like, we're fucking doing pizza. Like this, it's done. And so like, she's like,
I
okay.
has spoken.
Woman.
I don't want to get into all these details. I don't want to sit here and try to figure out the crock pot and
The
like
Bible
10
says
other
I
things.
have dominion over you.
That's right. I quoted the word.
What if she wants to?
No. Trust me, she wanted pizza. She just needed me.
She just
to
didn't know it
help her
yet.
get there.
Oh my god, this is
Well, it gets worse. So then
so good.
we get to the day of, and it's like, okay, I need to get this. So it is my task. I've already said I will take
'cause you
charge of.
decided.
Well, we've gotten to the place. She's like, good. That actually turned out to be the right decision. Great. Let's do pizza, and it's my job. I'm going to get the pizzas. So I'm going to order them, and I'm going to pick them up on the way home. Everything's chaos on Halloween. This
Oh,
whole
yeah.
city's piece of shit. Everything's crazy. You can't
Yeah.
ever get food. So this was a big choice.
I
We were
love
like, okay, we're
Halloween
going to
here
do this right.
so much.
So I text her. I say, hey, I'm going to take care of the pizzas now. I'm about to do that. She goes, okay, great. And so I'm on there and like, you know, dialing it all up, typing everything in. And I'm like, oh man, I don't know what people want. So I just buy a shitload of pizza. Like I just buy like 4 large pizzas with like every possibility, you know, for like basically 4 adults.
You know Donnelly's rule on ordering pizza. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
No.
No, what is
You
it?
order whatever pizzas you're going to order. So if you order 4 with like different toppings or whatever, you order that many cheese pizzas as well.
Oh.
Because no one's ever mad to have a cheese pizza around.
That's
true.
That is a smart move.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're going to order 4
I
pizzas, you go ahead and
overorder.
order 8 pizzas. But
Yeah.
you just have a whole lot of cheese pizza.
But I consider it dillying or what a dilly-dallying, like dithering. Like when people sit around like, oh, let's discuss it. Let's like kick around 5 other options, like what kinds of pizza. Fuck it. I'm just going to get 2 pepperonis and 2 everythings, and there's plenty of pizza.
See,
We're done.
This reminds me of that time that Jim worked for NASA, and they're like, let's work out the math. And Jim's like, let's just fucking go.
There's the moon.
Just go.
Jesus,
Push the
Neil,
gas.
the pedal on the right, the fucking gas. Let's light this candle.
Yada yada yada.
Yada yada. You can see it in the fucking sky. Aim at it. It's the big bright thing. You're not gonna fucking miss it, you idiots.
Point the front towards
The pointy end goes right in the dirt. Hit it.
I do that after I think that a consensus has been reached, and then I find out that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because I'll like pizza, for example. What types of pizzas do we want to get for this party? And I will we'll have a conversation about it, and then I will think pizza problem has been settled.
Yeah.
We have established what kinds of pizza we're getting, and then 5 minutes later, somebody says, "So what kind of pizza are we getting?"
Oh, right.
And I go, well, "We just talked about it.
I ordered it.
That's
We're
already
done.
it's already settled."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why? No, like I'm
It's
I'm
on
not
the
doing
way.
it, but like we've already had this conversation. Why are we continuing to have this
Yeah.
conversation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so what pizzas? You got 2 pepperonis, 2 everything. So what happened?
Oh, it turned out everybody in the family only wanted pepperoni.
Yeah, I was gonna say pepperoni's the win.
Yeah, I fucked up.
Yeah.
You only
So-
get one to everything.
Only
Yeah.
I was willing to have any of the 2 extra large everything
Yep.
pizzas that I got.
Yep.
So then we just have a fridge full of that shit. And then the pepperonis, there was barely enough to go around to cover everybody.
And
Everyone's
that's
like,
why you brought everything pizza for the three of us tonight.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, I have a
wait,
shitload of car pizza. I
You
need to
didn't,
get.
though.
Oh, it's in the trunk.
Oh, good.
Where pizza goes, as we all know.
It's cold enough now. We can store pizza in the trunk.
Yeah, absolutely can. So anyway, to the writer, like I think that there's a vast spectrum, and I think you are a type of person who's more collaborative and, you know, willing to talk. I can't handle that shit, and so I just shoot from the hip all the fucking time. We both encounter our own errors because of that, right? And so like both of our dispositions lead us to folly and sometimes to success. You know, so sometimes you're going to get the better answer because you took the time to survey 10 fucking people, and sometimes I'm going to get where I need to go faster because I didn't fucking dither and just bought something and it was good enough.
But he
you know?
will have leftover pizza.
I do have a lot of leftover pizza. But I would rather have extra pizzas that nobody eats than have to suffer a conversation discussing toppings.
I do agree with that.
Not gonna do
I don't agree with Jim very often, but I do agree with that.
Fuck it. We're just gonna.
I'll do because I do this. I do the exact same thing. If we're having pizza for something, it's like great. I'm ordering 20 pizzas.
Yeah, I'm just gonna over order.
8 people are coming over.
Yeah.
Yep. And I ordered 20 pizzas.
Yeah.
There is no
They
way
can
I
always-
could have fucked this up.
Yeah.
You can just have what you
If
want.
all of
Yeah.
our friends
Don't
bring
care.
5 friends,
Yes.
we still have enough pizza.
Yes.
I kind of wanted lasagna.
Oh,
Oh, I ordered 3 lasagnas.
Yeah.
It's fine.
They're in the oven.
I'm on your team on this shit. For social occasions, over order.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do it. But
You
my
can
wife's always
freeze
like, oh, well,
anything.
I'll have 3, and I think the kid will only have 1. I'm like, we're not going to fucking arithmetic this.
Everyone
Like,
gets 3
a
pieces.
shitload
I don't
of
care if they're
pizza,
1 years old.
And the leftovers go to the trash. Or
Everyone
we box it all
gets
up and
a
everybody
pizza.
gets, yeah, everybody
The
goes home with a
trash?
pizza. I don't give a shit. That's how I am with everything, though. And everybody's all like, oh, fucking don't let Jimmy order because he'll just like buy the restaurant. I'm like, yeah, because I don't want to do this. I don't want to have a conversation where we're weighing this shit out. Anyway, writer, do that.
Why does that bother you, Jim?
It's so annoying. It's just it's like this.
How does
why
that make
are we
you
doing
feel?
this? Irritated. So irritated. I don't want to do it. So
What
anyway.
about that irritates you, Jim?
Yeah, again, the
Those-
dithering.
I think those discussions for you are just the loading screen of life.
It is. No, let's
Yeah.
move the
I
fuck
just
on.
like any excuse
Like,
for Jim to
let's
use the
go.
word dithering.
There's going to be pizza.
I know. I'm like
I want Jim to
Googling
use
it.
the word dithering more often.
Pizza will be provided.
Jim,
but
say
I do this
dithering.
with everything. Like if we're going to go on a trip, my wife sensibly will come to me with 3 or 4 different hotels. And she'll be like, okay, so these are the hotels. Here's the prices. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. But
Wait
as
a
a
minute.
bed, we're done.
We have a hotel. We go there every time. What are we doing?
Have you heard
Yes.
of this theory on simplifiers and optimizers?
No.
Yes, it
Okay.
sounds like-
this applies to the letter.
Yes,
Yeah.
it sounds like if we're talking about you and your wife, you're the simplifier. Like
Yeah.
it's simple. We've
Simple
ordered a place
Jim.
with the bed or like
Yeah.
this many simple Jim. That's
Yeah.
what we call it.
Simple Jim.
Simple Jack. Yo, Simple Jack.
Simple Jack.
Because I'm a bad boy. Yes. Simple Jim simplifies.
But then optimizers are like trying to
Right.
calculate exactly how much pizza you need,
Yeah.
exactly how much whatever.
They don't
yeah.
want any waste. They want it to get it just
I
right.
know.
And again, bless them. Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
And they're the better person in my
They
opinion.
find each other.
Yes, yeah.
it seems like
we need each other though.
I
'cause,
know.
But she's after 20 years, she's learned to just ignore my ass. So I'll be like, no, just fucking pick this one. She'll be like, okay, you are not available to discuss this. And
She's
so
like, I will go order the
Yep,
hotel.
I will go back. No, like reading reviews. I will not read reviews. I can't do that. I don't care.
Oh my gosh.
I don't give a shit.
Peter and I just had this conversation in Italy because he's like, I was like, well, let's go get a croissant in the morning for breakfast. He's like, all right. So he immediately pulls out his phone to find like the best place to find a
Oh,
croissant. I'm
yeah.
like, there's 99 places to just walk into
Go to the first
in
one that
Florence.
sells croissants.
Yeah.
All of them are going to be good or like
Yeah.
pizza or whatever. Like it's such a small chance you're going to have a bad croissant, a bad pizza,
Yeah.
whatever, bad gelato. And he's like,
Take
so
your time.
our consensus is it's a little bit of both. Sometimes I let him look up wherever and he says where we're going. I'm like, all right, great. And then sometimes I'm like, nope, we're just gonna go walk by that pizza place we walked by randomly
Yeah.
or whatever. Like,
Yep.
but yeah, it's funny how quickly it's like the phone comes out and I'm like, da, da, da. I'm like, why is that your reaction to just pull the phone out, look at reviews, find the place?
That
That's-
drives me crazy.
On vacation, I am very good about dropping all of it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've become very like we were in New Orleans last weekend, and SJ. We woke up on Monday morning, and SJ was like, "I want to have beignets." It's like, great,
Yeah.
let's get dressed. We're going to have beignets.
Yep.
And like we're gonna walk in. Let's
Wherever.
say this direction.
And we're gonna find the next vignette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And sure, and like we walked like a block or two, and I was like, oh shit, I know where a beignet place is. There's a beignet place right up here. We're going to have beignets. And like, yeah.
But you don't have to sit down and
And
like
then we
look
spent
it
the
all
rest of
up.
the day just walking around.
Yeah.
See, whereas the writer, I think, and also my wife and maybe Peter, they're the type of person that would be like, okay, I'm going to go to the front desk and I'm going to ask them who's got the best beignets, and I'm going to ask them to give me their 3 favorites, and then I'm going to look those up on Yelp, and I'm going to read the reviews, I'm going to compare price, and like, I'm upset that that's even happening. Like, I don't want to do any of that.
I'm a little bit like
Yeah,
that. I'm
irritated.
exhausted.
Yeah, this is emotionally taxing now,
is,
and
yeah.
you've sucked the joy out of this for me. Like, fucking
I
walk
just
into
wanted
the shop,
some beignets.
I'm going to open my mouth, and you shove a beignet in there, and that's the end of it.
What's the Patreon level to like, I don't know, record a vacation with Peter and Jim? Like that would be a TV show.
I think
That
he
would
beats me up like halfway through.
You would,
Oh, yeah.
you would
I don't
get
think I come home.
All of the micro expressions from Peter, you would learn them so fast. For a professional poker player, he'd be screwed after that. You would learn them all.
I think you would break Peter.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Just calls Whitney. He's like, please come
He'd
get
be
me.
in the fetal position.
I don't want to drive back with this man.
Don't make me,
Please
please.
just come get me.
Or Jim would be buried in the desert.
Yeah, that's right.
somewhere.
Yeah,
One of those.
Oh, Jim.
Jim who?
Jim. Yeah, you know what?
Simple Jim.
He's on vacation. Simple Jim on vacation.
Oblivion is all you crave. Thank you, Robert Palmer.
Oh, Lord. Anyway,
yeah.
writer, my advice, go find somebody decisive and just marry them.
Yeah.
My advice is the last piece of advice that you take is this advice right here.
This is it.
2025 is all about experimentation.
There it is.
There you go.
Butt
Your
stuff.
goals have been made.
Done.
Yep.
Drugs and butt stuff.
Drugs and butt stuff. Same
mean,
thing
you
on the bumper sticker.
Don't start there. But you know,
But finish
you're
there.
gonna
by
get
December 2025,
Yeah.
that's what that's where we're gonna
the
be.
12th month. You know, if you're not there, you did it wrong.
Yeah.
Hold on, I just have to write down this potential name for my autobiography real quick.
Drugs and butt stuff.
Or wait, is it the
Jacob
bar?
Smith story.
I told you.
Somebody make that book cover. I want to see it on the Discord on this fucking episode. It's going on the socials. Oh, drugs and butt stuff. The Jacob Smith story. It's an autobiography.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, writer.
It
Good luck.
began in December in Louisiana.
It was hot.
It was the day I'll
Oh, wait,
never
not in
forget.
December.
Anyway, good luck with this, writer. But there's nothing wrong with you. I think there's a way to work on it if this is something you want to build up a muscle in. But definitely nothing wrong with you. I don't see that at all. But anyway, take Nick's advice. End up with drugs and butt stuff. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are talking about socially acceptable addictions. You're listening to Pod Therapy.
Coffee.
Today's episode is brought to you by
Howdy.
Mitch, Don, Malia, Richard Macy, Sonny Boy, Thunder Cougar, Falcon, Scoop, Slippy Kaye, Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Elena, Sam Cohn, and Jake Schneider. And if you would like to sponsor an episode, go to patreon.com/therapy and sign up to become a therapy producer.
Bow, bow.
Okay.
Is this only the second break?
It is. I know.
Oh, this is a long show, guys.
Yeah, I don't.
We're dragging.
Are we going to do a third question?
We can skip
We
it.
can do whatever you guys want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right. Which marine animal shows signs of self-recognition and vanity by admiring themselves in mirrors, a trait associated with higher cognitive functions? Octopus or octopi? Is it octopuses?
Octopussy.
Octopussy is the movie.
Man, I set you guys up.
Fine
for
film.
that.
Octavagina, I believe is how that's pronounced.
Sea otters, manta rays, or seals?
I want octopus.
Sea otters.
Ooh, you're going with octopus?
I'm going octopus.
I'll bet you.
How do any of them have mirrors?
Well, I believe somebody supplies them with the mirror.
There's a thought.
Yeah.
All right. Checks out, I
Well,
guess.
I mean, what is the manufacturing process? I mean, they could probably
It's
get
in the
that.
ocean.
I'm going to go octopus as well.
You said sea otter?
Mm-hmm. Wait. Yeah, sea otter.
What was the last one?
Seal.
Seals.
Oh, I'll take seal.
Heidi Klum's ex-husband?
Yes. Kissed by a rose.
Manta rays.
Ooh,
Wow.
Damn.
What animal has been observed teaching their young how to use tools, such as sticks to extract insects, demonstrating the transmission of culture and knowledge?
Jim Jobin.
If I do it blind, can I have 2 points?
Sure.
Chimps.
You're wrong.
Fuck!
Is it Jim?
What?
Is it Jim Jobin?
Just simple Jim.
You think Jim knows how to use a tool?
Jim doesn't know how to use a stick.
Yeah, I've got this Fisher Price screwdriver I'm showing my kids.
Assembling the Blackstone.
Yeah, that's right. My son's in there with the power drill. Like, yeah,
It didn't say the child
really cool,
shows
Dad.
the parent.
Okay. Bears,
Damn it.
elephants, New Caledonian crows,
Those are okay.
and raccoons.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Shit,
man.
shit, and shit.
Fuck you, chimps.
I'm going to say bears.
Using
it can't be.
tools for bugs.
Oh, I was going to say it couldn't be elephants using a
certainly
stick,
could be.
but it sure
Yeah.
could.
That's
They
my
got their
answer.
trunk.
I was gonna say
My answer is elephants.
too. But then raccoons.
I like raccoon. I like crows.
I know.
I thought a bird too, like digging
Yeah,
for
I like
Those
the
are
crows thing.
super smart.
man.
Wait, what was? Read the whole question
Yeah, read
again.
the question again.
What animal has been observed teaching their young how to use tools such as sticks to extract insects?
Bird. I'm going bird.
Demonstrating
Yeah, go with
the
the
Elephant's not
transmission.
taking out a fucking insect.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
I'm
want the
going-
crow.
Yeah, I'm going crows too.
I'm gonna say raccoon for fun.
I
but
like
think
raccoon
crow
though.
is
I
good.
want it to be raccoon.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the
They're so
cutest.
cute.
one.
Oh, you're out. Never
Damn
mind.
it. Are you going to give me
You
another
almost
guess?
got me.
I'll take it.
It is the crows.
Ah, nice.
Ooh,
Okay,
nice.
last one? Which
Did
animals?
the math out loud.
Yeah.
Which animals have been seen consoling each other with hugs and gentle touches after conflicts, indicating empathy and emotional intelligence?
Oh, can I get? let me take it
Raccoons.
to
Take a
2
blind.
points.
Take a
Sure,
blind.
sure.
Sea otter.
Ooh.
Okay. No.
Shit.
It was a noble effort, though.
It was.
Yeah.
Elephants,
Yeah.
bonobos.
That's it. They fuck everything. It's the
bonobos.
bonobos. Yeah.
Giraffes.
Yeah. No, give me bonobos. They
gonna
fight
go-
and they just bang it out.
I'm going to go bonobos
They
as
Yeah.
well.
bang it out.
I think it's giraffes.
I'm gonna go with the bonobos.
I can't answer, but I think it's giraffes.
Bonobos.
There it is.
I was hoping for a moral victory.
Yeah.
Nick, do you remember that story we heard of a gentleman who was quite inebriated going around a bar and explaining how to bring world peace was the bonobo strategy in which he would have sex with world leaders? This was at Scoop Fest. When we went to the, what's that, McMullen's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the bartenders?
Oh,
Yeah, do you remember?
yes.
Yeah, I don't want to name
Okay,
check.
yeah.
The person who told us the story.
Yeah.
But it's really funny.
Sounds like Spadoni.
Yeah.
Wow, I wonder who it was. If that was the person or
Good
not.
poker face, Jim.
Yeah. Sorry. No.
Jim's dying over here.
Who's that?
We'll never know.
Jim the Vault Jobin.
You'll never get a secret out of this
Simple
guy.
vault.
Simple Vault Jim.
All right. You're probably right, Nick. I think we've gone over time. So we will save our third question. We'll put it in the next one. Because this is the first episode of the month.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, which means we've
Good
got
call.
some business to attend to.
Business.
So the first episode of every month, we thank all of our theropods and pterodactyls by name, everybody that's current. And so we want to thank University Jeff, Robert Paulson, Polygon, Colin, Richard Bruins, Linda Brandmeier, Scoopstronaut, Joseph Pangrazio, Corey Owens, Christine Phillips, Gavin Bristow, Carrie Terhark, Stacy Westerland, Kiwi Fruit Scoop, Take It Easy Podcast, James K., Craig Little, Don Dorr, Jim Hunter, Scoopatron, Todd Canfield, Felicia Butler, David Sorensen, Shayla Bullock, Lauren Izzo, Stacy Coleman, Adam Pedinuzzo, Mats Lenegren, Scoopiter, Ascending, Ian Soto, Jessica Cyphers, Lee Popsicle, That Josh Guy, Dr. Scoop Little, Mama Ninja Scoop, James Dawson, Sarah Olo, Grumpy Lake Mead Park Ranger, Sam Buck, Karen McCulloch, What Weekend, Some Nobody, Lila, Be Gay, Do Crimes, Kelly Gagner, Nippy, Brian Emra, Matthew Johnson, Alec Lancaster, J.D. Congan, A Literal Pickle, Matthias Vandebrandt, Andreas Saavedra Molina, Max the Ginger Scoop, Ken Tinsley, Julius Capel, Chemist, Stacy, Protect and Scoop, Smells Funny, Matthew Cubic, Chad the Safety Lad, Walter Fluke, Philip Guyton, Tim Mystery, Almost Doctor, Nurse Joey, Duffy the Slowly Getting Their Therapist Bear, Joel McMillan, Christopher DeGursey, Kirka Grimm, Trisha Ortiz, Chris Conway, Melissa L. Geisler, Kirsten Johnson, DJ Seward, Mississippi Hippie, Scott A., Fifi, Eli, Freya Lawson, that feels right. Heather W., Patty Glad, Kyle, Todd V., Anthony Camerata, David Williams, Kate Police, Kerna Pillar, Buddy Dobbins, Eric Dyer, Trontastic, Glitch Scoop, Alita Blaze, Bug Nuts, Stephen Landon, Shai Ruparel, Adam Balez, Kenneth Wong, John Finlayson, Mysterious Annalid, KJ, Mr. Poth, Carmen Perry, K. Pizzle Dizzle, Robert Cole, Temporary Reality, Jeff Darnell, Jamibi, Jacob Hunt, Hurt, Yep. Syncytium, Persephone Hazard, Ray J. Shark, Recreated, Silka Daniels, Nathan Mookie, Jenny Rose, Jacob Billingsley, J.W. Reynolds, What Does Scoop Mean? A Crusty Croissant, Alex Jardine, Juan Monterey, Dylan Colopy, Wolfie05, Autry Johnson, Ben Sherman, Chris Courtney, Dale the King, Cedar Hayden, Nora Monaco, Adam Goff, Jesse Miller, Livy, Terrible Tay, Acrylic Curve, Linus Hakana, whatever, I nailed it. Itty Bitty Chicken Farmer, Yangin Keeley, and Kay Matthews.
Pterodactyls, Ice Blue Scoop, Brian Lehman, Scoop Brady, Fred Bishara Jr., Andrea Anderson, Scoop Lindsay, Frozen Cusser, Lori Ellsroth, Robert Ward, Cy Shonagon. Ooh, I said that wrong.
That feels right.
Scoopy Jess, Okie Scoop, Dank Butta, Brooks Lyle, Adam Ribchick, Lovely Spark, Mr. V, Jim and Manu, Adam Warren, and Manuel Cavazos.
Nice. Very good.
Thanks.
And as we wrap up the show, we want to remind you can sign up at patreon.com/therapy and get the extended show ad-free a day earlier, as well as enjoy our live chat Discord community and our weekly deep dives, interviews, skill shares, research roundups, and rants. And we've got some new people joining the Theraparty. Who's new,
Yay.
Nick?
Yeah, we got a new Therapod, Yagan Kylie.
Welcome, Yagan.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us. Glad to have you. And we'd like to thank the benevolent, revered, generous, and flagrantly pro-therapy diehards who love you all so much, they give till it hurts. The Therap Partners, Dirty B, and Pickett. And we want to especially thank our bosses, the mysterious and shrouded Illuminati members of the fan club, the Therap Producers. Thank you, Jake Schneider, Myra, Robert Brownie Jr. Mint, Smitty Scoop, Ben Don, Judy Schneider, Kayla Lansbury, Malia, Leon Kassab, Mason Miller, Richard fucking Macy, Carolyn Albert, Kevin Chamberlain, Tess Miller, Sammy Scoop, Ben Stanley slapping your face, Sarah Smith, Adam Hathaway, Byler T, Mike Helm, Paris, Darren Cunningham, Lib, Team Monaco, Thunder Cougar, Falcon Scoop, Matt Lisa Tangeman, Heyo, Oscar Swanrose, Sunny Boy, Slurpy Kai Motherfucker, Sandra McWaffle, Dan Martin, Hannah Marie, Andrew Langmead, Emma Kane, Alina, Cody the DeLorean Guy, and Sam Cohn.
And if you would like to hear this episode uncut and unedited,
And why wouldn't you?
and enjoy our spontaneous side projects, go to patreon.com/therapy, and thank you for supporting mental health.
That's all the time we got for this week's session. I want to thank our landlords, Matt Mattingly's Ice Cream Social Podcast, and thanks to those of you who contributed to our show today. We really appreciate it. But remember, pod therapy isn't something to keep all to yourself. Share the episode with the world. Tag us on the socials when you do. It's at PodTherapyGuys on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter. It's /PodTherapy on Facebook. And don't forget about all the extra goodies at patreon.com/therapy.
Do you want to submit a question to the show? You can ask anonymously at podtherapy.net. Email us at podtherapyguys@gmail.com or by clicking the link in the episode description to be taken to our anonymous Google form. I'm Nick Tangeman.
I'm Whitney.
I'm Jim.
Thanks, and we'll see you for your appointment.
Simple
next
Jim.
week.
Simple Jim.
Your heart sweats, your teeth grind. Another kiss, and you'll be mine.
I don't think good.
Jesus Christ.
Goodbye.
Bye.